Hi and welcome to the RC Retro channel. In this episode, we continue to take a look at the team associated RC10 T3 stadium truck. Now, in a prior episode, I took ownership of this T3, talked a little bit about the history, some of the different kits that were available for the T3, and then specifically took an in-depth look at the one that I have, which is now all in pieces in front of you. But took a look at it and talked a little bit about the aftermarket factory team parts or different parts that came from different kits that were transplanted on it. And now for this particular episode, I'm going to continue to take it apart and put it back together via some time-lapse video that you're about to see. However, I just wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of things I noticed when I was taking this apart. First off, when I unboxed this, it had oil all over the front of the car. So obviously I knew one of the shocks was leaking. So I took it apart, threw everything in an ultrasonic cleaner, and everything cleaned up very nicely. And then I took that one particular shock apart first, and as I was comparing it to the manual, I noticed that there was one particular piece inside the shock that was missing, and that is the split locking washer. And that is the piece that goes on top of all of the O-rings and spacers that keep them down at the bottom of the shock and basically seals the shock in and prevents the shock oil from leaking out. And because that was missing, the O-rings and the washers and the spacers and all that stuff were riding up the piston rod and basically were opening up the hole at the bottom, which allowed all of the shock oil to leak out, getting all over the front end of the car. Now, the other shocks I've already taken apart, rebuilt, put new shock oil, and are functioning perfectly, no leaking whatsoever. However, I do not have a spare split locking washer. So the team associated website does not offer shock rebuild kits for the T3 or any of these. And so I had to go onto eBay, and they are rather pricey because they are no longer offered on the team associated website. So I did place an order. It will be here in a few days. I will probably have the car rebuilt before that piece even gets here. So at the end of the video, if you see this back together and missing a shock, well, now you know why. And then finally, some great news. The wheels and tires were not glued. So that is a bonus right there. I really thought I was gonna have a hard time getting the tires off to get the J Concepts tires on here that I purchased. And I thought I was gonna have to do the whole acetone thing where you put it in a glass jar with the acetone at the bottom and you let the fumes eat away at the glue. But once I started to unscrew the three-piece wheels over here, I realized that it was just the way that the wheels go in and basically lock into place and lock the tire. So as I was pulling back, it wasn't that they were glued, it's just that they were locked, obviously in between these two pieces right here. So you couldn't even imagine how happy I was when I took that apart. I was like, oh my God, they're not glued. It's gonna save me so much time and effort. So there you go. Very, very happy about that. All right, so with that, I'm gonna cut to some time-lapse video of the rebuild. At some points, I probably will stop time-lapse footage and just talk a little bit about how the rebuild is going, but that'll be in like a point of view video, me looking down with the GoPro on my hands like this. But I will be back in this view at the end of the video to discuss the overall rebuild. So enjoy. Sorry to interrupt the video, everyone, but I have some exciting news. We're going to be doing a random giveaway here on the RC Retro channel. If you follow our race night videos, you'll know that recently we just got a corporate sponsor, Beach Cliff Sardines. If you're not eating Beach Cliff Sardines, they're just sardines. And with that, they'd like to give one lucky viewer a case of Beach Cliff Sardines. So all you have to do to be eligible to receive that random giveaway is be a subscriber to the RC Retro channel and drop a comment down below. So if you're not a subscriber, please make sure you hit the subscribe button so you could be eligible. And now, back to our video. So I took the gearbox apart, cleaned everything, re-lubed, put it back together, and it's very smooth except for the fact that the drive shaft had a lot of play in it. It wiggled back and forth very much. And so I took it apart, and this time I looked at the manual. I'm going to just move my camera to look at the manual for a second to show you. So here is the drive shaft, and please excuse my poor video angles right here. But on either side of the drive shaft, you put these spacers, one here and one here, and that was missing from this gearbox, which is why there was a lot of play in the drive shaft. So luckily I went into my parts bin and I had two of those spacers, and now there is no play and it is perfect. Well, a nice pleasant surprise that I didn't even realize I had until I was cross-referencing the manual and rebuilding this was that the MIP CVDs were included with this T3. These CVDs only came with the team kit or the factory team kit, which were the two upper models and the two upper kits of the T3. So again, very, very cool. Glad that I got these instead of the other ones. Great news! The shock rebuild kit got here sooner than I thought. Number 6440, specific for the T3, and it was $5.25 when it was brand new. Unfortunately, that's not what I paid for it. I paid about 5 times that amount. There was a guy who had it on eBay, and it was an auction, and I lost in the auction. It went up to like $27, I think. And then the very next day, he posted another one of these. So it was like best offer. So I offered him $25, and he took it, and boom, there you go. I got these. So these will probably come in handy nonetheless on some other team associated cars I have. So let's get this shock rebuilt, and then on to the T3. So just so you could see, this is the piece that was not in the shock holding everything down. This is a split locking washer. It's just a piece of plastic. I actually have a few of these, but they're rounded and they look like a C, but those are for the team car. These, for the T3, is almost like a square with rounded edges. So I actually tried out those split locking washers from the team car in the T3 shock body, and they would not lock in, so another reason why I really needed these. So glad I got them. All right, there's a correct sequence right there. Split locking washer, spacer, red O-ring, bigger spacer, red O-ring, and then a little spacer. Put a little oil on there, and then I'm gonna put it right into the shock body. Alright, and this rebuild is basically a wrap, at least for right now. And just in time, the shock rebuild kit showed up. I'm glad I was able to figure out that situation and get the shock fixed up. A couple other parts on here that I didn't realize I had at first until I tore this apart and started to rebuild it were the blue anodized front axles, also the RPM front steering blocks, and the MIP CVDs on the back. So that was a nice treat. I didn't even realize that those were on here, like I said, until I took it apart. Alright, so for the next video with the T3, I'm going to get it fitted with electronics, get it over to my friend Harry's track, do a couple test laps with it, fine tune it, tweak it, and you can expect that in a follow-up video. So with that, I just want to say thank you for tuning in and checking out my T3. If you haven't checked out the prior T3 video of me unboxing this and going through some of the parts, I'll post that link down below in the description. Thank you so much again, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care.
Let's go.